Alright, sorry. So, this is going to be more like a chat based around the idea of why I don't bother with D&D and why I don't want to play D&D. And there's going to be a lot of reasons why I just don't want to play D&D. Alright, so I'm going to be explaining that here in this stream. So, let me go ahead and share this out, and we'll get started on my genuine reason why I don't I don't play D&D. I've just never had like this like interests. So it's gonna be one of those things that I felt like this needed to be explained. Cause in depth, a lot of people are like, well, why is it not playing D&D? Bah bah bah. Alright. So we're gonna go into a little bit of my past. Alright. We're gonna go into a little bit of why I think D&D people are, why I'm just not friends with a lot of D&D people. I just want to explain this because I used to go on adventures when I was a young guy, okay? And if I still had the capabilities to do so, I would definitely still go on those adventures, okay? And when I make a group of nerdy friends, all right, it's not my type of people anymore, and I'm starting to realize that. That's why I prefer hanging out with like gamers, actual video gamers that actually take the time out of their day to exercise and do that shit. So give me 1 second. I'm still advertising off everything. So I will start talking about this subject. This is a subject that I wanted to be talking about, and I want everybody to genuinely understand why I do not like playing D&D and why I just don't want to play D&D anymore in general. So hold on. And so there's a lot of confusion, a lot of confusion with this that just really I want to pan it out and make it clear, throw it out in the atmosphere so everybody just genuinely understands what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do here, and we'll share it over to Reddit too, and then we'll get started because this is gonna go really in depth as to my experiences with just the game in general and why I just don't want to play it anymore. I'm not trying to offend anybody by any means. This is more or less just a statement in general, and the general reason why I just don't play the game anymore. I guess I want to state it that way. What's going on with this? All right, we'll go in and we'll just like copy and paste it back again. Copy it. Yeah, this is genuinely just not to upset anybody. This is to get them to understand my point of view and why I have no reason to really want to anymore. So I'm almost done here. So, all right, and one more time. All right, so, all right. So this goes into a lot more stuff than just generally the game itself. This is more about my experiences with it and my unbiased opinion about why I don't play D&D with a bunch of tabletop gaming nerds. Okay, so one of the many reasons why is because the D&D crowd is just not my crowd. I used to hang out with skateboarders. I used to hang out with BMX people. I used to hang out with people who actually went out and we did wild and crazy things. Now, I don't go and do that as much anymore because I haven't found my people here, but I have always been the type to want to go outside of the house and want to go explore. And in fact, when I am bored and I'm not on YouTube, I am out doing stuff. I am literally outside, getting stuff done, or like today. and rode my bicycle to the store. And, that to me, I get out and I get to see stuff. And if I see something off, I can just be like, all right, let me park the bike here. And then I'll actually go and look at that. So, when you're on bicycle or you go out and you explore, you're more willing to see stuff instead of use your imagination sitting right here in front of a table looking at little figures on top of a tabletop board. It's not, to me, it's boring. It's boring. It always has been boring. And this is just genuinely not to offend anybody, but this is just how I feel in general about D&D all around. I have people have asked me time and time again, bringing D&D up into my life, and I'm like, I'm simply saying I do not play the game because the game to me is just, it's something I want to fall asleep to. As a person that has ADHD, I don't want to sit around a table with a bunch of people looking at a board and reading directions when I could go outside and do something outside. Do something outside, such as like explore the lake, and stuff like that. Go fishing, like I'm from the mountains, so when you're from the mountains, you just genuinely don't like sitting around all the time. You wanna go out and do stuff. You wanna go out and get some fresh air. You wanna go out and just ultimately explore things that are outside in the real world instead of sitting here all the time. Now, I haven't been doing that as much, mostly because I've seen everything here there is to see, and I'm ready to go from this state. I don't get along with people here because they don't have that thing where I want to go and I want to go to a bunch of rocks and climb up some rocks, or I want to get out and I want to get on a boat and I want to go like ride across the lake, stuff like that. I want to, it's stuff like that. And I don't meet people like that anymore. Unfortunately, there are zero people inside the city that are like that. Now, I wasn't raised on a farm. I'm not even, I call myself a mountain boy because I was born around mountains, okay? I was born closer to a mountain than I was on some farmland, okay? I do know what it's like to mow your own grass. I do know what it's like to own a bunch of animals. But as for milking cows, I know jack shit about that. As for having chickens, I don't know anything about that. I lived in a place where you walked up a giant hill to get to a spot that had fresh air blowing in your hair just to cool down, you know? And even on hot days, we still did it. I lived in a place where I can go and just feel like I can get away from everything. And when and when people are sitting there playing D&D, it's not fun. All right, I had a group of people I used to hang out with. We would go out and explore things more than we sat at home and play D&D. No offense, but D&D is just not my thing anymore. It never has been. That's why I'd rather sit here and play an actual game that involves me having a controller in my hand than holding a keyboard and mouse instead of playing a tabletop game. You can take those friends that are in around the table and actually go out and do stuff in real world. That's the difference between playing D&D and video gaming. That's why I choose to play video games over D&D. You have to think about it that way. As a whole, you are a bunch of boring people sitting around a table doing absolutely nothing but reading instructions and moving your piece. I can play Monopoly and fucking do that. Okay? I can play Monopoly and do the exact same thing. So, what I'm saying is, to you D&D players that are so pushing your D&D stuff on everybody, go play Baldur's Gate instead. Go get on the PC, go play a console game, and have fun doing that. Sitting around a table with a bunch of your friends and not getting outside and doing stuff during the day, what are you doing? What are you actually doing? Go outside and look at a bird flying in the sky. Go outside and get engulfed in nature instead of pretending you're a knight sitting here at a table. That's something that has always, that's literally why I haven't played D&D for a while. I think the realization came to me when I sat around, when everybody kept bugging me about it and bugging me about it, I'm like, no, I don't play D&D because it's overrated, because you can simply go outside and explore it. You know, you can simply go outside and do that stuff yourself. There might not be dragons and stuff like that, but that's what video games are meant for now. You know, it's something that I don't understand, and it's because maybe just because I don't want to play it. And maybe the past year, something dawned on me that maybe, we're put on this earth not to sit around a table and play D&D with our friends. No offense, but that's just boring. All right? That is absolutely extremely boring. And you can go outside and do better things, okay? You can go outside and throw a ball around. You can go outside and, go explore a trail. You can literally go outside and talk to people right next to you, instead of acting like you all need to sit around a table moving a piece of night. Now, I'm not insulting anybody that plays this, but as for me, this is why I don't play. This is exactly the reason why I don't bother with it anymore. It's because I've played it before, and it's not something I genuinely enjoyed. I would prefer going out into the real world and getting an adventure. I've been in the rain many times. I know what it feels like to get drenched by rain going all the way to work, and that's an adventure, man. Trust me, if you're not getting outside and you're not doing stuff outside, and all your friends are just sitting around a table, you know, I don't know what to tell you, because going outside instead of all sitting around a table, moving a piece on a table, counting where you got to go, and then rolling some dice. Hell, buddy, you could go out and buy some fake swords and bash each other with them. They might sting, but that's how sword fighting actually works. And you could buy fake. They used to have fake Nerf swords. I can go find one for you right now if you're interested in sword fighting. But it's one of those things that, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I don't. This is again why I don't play D&D, because I have the capacity to go out and actually do those things in my, out in nature. Go out and get out. Don't. The only time you should be really playing D&D is late at night when you have nothing else to do and you and your buddies are just hanging out and you're all drinking or whatever. Then again, you might not even be able to concentrate on the game. I'm not trying to insult anybody again, but I really feel like this needs to be said. That D&D is a game of the past. It's a great game of the past. It passed the time for people who didn't want to actually go out and do anything. You and your nerdy buddies would sit around a table. We've seen that in Stranger Things, actually. But I'm saying this to you guys out there that like D&D. D&D is just a thing of the past, okay? D&D is far past, and we're in video game territory now. We're in an age where you have the capabilities of either playing it in your hands like this or going outside. And trust me, I'd rather go outside, have a paintball gun war, instead of sitting around a table and being like, yeah, I rolled a 20. Hooray, I can toss a stone now. Like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go out and find a fucking mountain and climb up the side of a mountain. Dude, if you're not getting out there and you have the capacity to go out and do these things, what are you doing? What are you actually doing with your time? I spend my time at night playing these games because, one, it's dark out. Two, I wouldn't be able to see anything. But back in the day when I was younger, me and my friends, we would go out and fucking skateboard this time of night because we had the time on our hands. And when it became night, we'd find a hidden spot away from everything and go out and probably fucking hurt ourselves. The biggest thing is I never really grown fond of D&D because I know there's much more out there that I can do. Hell, I can go out and buy my license right now and go night fishing if I really wanted to. Alright? I can go out and buy a fake sword, find somebody with a fake sword, and sit there and sword fight them in the middle of the road and not get in trouble because it's styrofoam. You gotta think about this stuff, man. You can't just sit around a table have fun rolling a 20 dice and thinking it's the most exciting thing ever. Now, I know some of you nerds are afraid to get out there and live a little, and that's fine. But as for me, I grew up in an area where I grew up near mountains. I grew up climbing trees. I grew up jumping on a trampoline. I grew up riding down dirt trails on my bicycle. Scary as fuck. And I literally hurt myself a few times, but I got to live as what a human being should live as, okay? You don't get that playing D&D, all right? You do not get that playing D&D. And again, the only time you should be playing D&D is really late at night when you have nothing better to do and your friends are all over and you all just want to chill. D&D is a game that was built long ago, okay? We can thank D&D for the RPGs that are coming out right now. But dude, you got to look at it like this. If you're up in the middle of the day and you're not getting out and doing stuff and you don't have stuff to do, books are there for you to pass the time, okay? But there are other things like getting outside, taking a walk around your block and seeing people, going down to the store, going to the video game store where you can meet other people. D&D is just not the only option that's out there, and that's what drives me nuts about these D&D people. They act like it's the end-all be-all. D&D should be played at night. When you have nothing else to do, it's like 1, 2 in the morning and you wanna run a 12-hour thing, by all means, go ahead. But I am not gonna sit there and spend my time during the day around a table with a bunch of people that want to waste hours on end doing that. Because the daytime is beneficial for you going outside, and every once in a while when you're tired, you sit here. You have the capacity to play console games. I have a PC right in front of me. If I wanted to have a D&D experience, I would literally be running it on my PC, which would be considered as World of Warcraft or Baldur's Gate. This is, again, these are reasons why I don't play D&D, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, again, but there needs to be something that's understood here with me in general. I don't want to play D&D again in my life, unless I don't even think that a group of people I would hang out with would actually do that. I would be like, the group of people that I would probably end up hanging out with, we would want to go out and see music. We would want to go out and see local bands play. We'd want to go out and just live our lives, having fun. Going to the random donut shop down the street that's open 24 hours and stuff like that. That's the point of, that is the ideal way of living in this world we are right now. And even so, back when I was living home in Pennsylvania, there was always Gettysburg, and you'd go there at night and you'd hear some really weird noises, which you weren't sure if it was an animal or somebody that died on the battlefield. That's a D&D experience right there that you can actually technically have in real life. Go into one of those trips during Halloween or nighttime and pay to go on a ghost tour. You'll have a D&D experience right there. Or go into the woods at night. I don't tell people to, I don't think people should be doing that, but there's a lot out there to explore. To sit around a table during the daytime to play D&D, you have to be a really young person to do that. And I was around some college kids a few years back that loved playing D&D. And I played some D&D in my life, and I can't understand the point of everybody being so excited about a tabletop game that you could simply sit there late at night and play instead of during the daytime. All right, it's like you could sit there with your buddies really late at night and play these games. But D&D is definitely, it's a thing of the past that should be a thing of the past, and people are still out there. Yeah, I play D&D. No. I'm glad you play D&D, but there's other shit you could be doing with your time. Hell, I just went down the street about 2 hours ago on my bicycle to go to the grocery store. That was fun. Because I got to see stuff outside, in person. There's so many things that you could be doing besides sitting there playing D&D. Hence why I don't really play games during the day. When I play games, it's always late at night. Because, 1, I don't sleep early. 2, I spend it getting caught up on what's back here. And 3, this city sucks with people. Orlando, Florida is not a fun place to meet people. I've tried it, okay? But everybody's too involved with something else, and it doesn't click with my genre of people. But back in the day, I had my little group of D&D players, but we did it when it was dark out. We did not do it during the day, all right? And that was what I always found interesting about the people who are playing it right now. They do it during the day when you could beneficially go outside, do some sort of do something that's going to make you absorb the daylight, you know? Do something that's going to be fun for you during the day. And, yesterday I spent my time doing stuff for my channels, and that's mainly why I was busy yesterday. But I didn't, I don't look at it as like, well, I'm going to sit here and play video games all day. As you all see, I play video games late at night. I don't waste time playing games during the day. There's no problem with playing games during the day. Then again, if you're really, really bored, by all means do so. But, you know, when you and your friends get together, you could do anything in the world. You could go outside and have a backyard wrestling match, which is what I would have done. You know, I used to do that with my buddies after school when I was younger, and I still would do that. I would rough house in the backyard, stuff like that. Or we would go out and we would find something crazy to do to pass the time during the day, and then come home at night. And if we played D&D, we played it at night. We didn't play it during the day. So, I'm not against D&D, but I get tired of like people asking me and trying to figure out why I don't play it. And there's a lot of reasons, particularly why I don't play it. It's boring. I have ADHD. Sitting there trying to concentrate on what my next move is and all that is really, really difficult for me. I'm a person who likes to go out and do stuff. I have my way about things, and in the past couple years, I haven't really found a group that wants to go do things, so I'm sitting at home by myself at the time. I'm not going to play D&D by myself, and the reason I don't play Magic the Gathering is because, one, I'm bored with the game, and two, they're changing it up all the time to a D&D format, which blends well with the game, of course, but I'm not a fan of it anymore. I'm not a fan of it anymore because, again, who wants to sit around during the day and play something when you could be out getting some fresh air? Doing something useful to try to attract your audience early in the day. These are just things to think about as to why I don't play it. Again, it's just my personal preference, but it's something to think about. When you're by yourself, you're not going to play D&D. You're going to do one of a couple of things. You're going to go outside, do something, walk down the street. Like, if I was really, really bored and thought about it, I would have walked down the street to the video retro game store and hung out down there. But I don't want to because I know what's going to happen. I'll spend money down there. So I choose to stay home here, do what I can towards my channels, and at night play games for you guys so you guys can watch. But only for me too. I play games for me. I want to learn half of these stories back here and learn what games are good and bad. But also on top of it, I read the Bible. So I read the Bible in shorts, and then at the end of the day, before I lay down, I read my Bible to go to sleep. All right, no lie. But this is just how I've been handling things, and this is just why you will never see me sit down with the D&D crowd. I've had multiple people in the past few years try to get me to play D&D, and I keep having to explain why I don't play D&D. And this is the ultimate explanation as to why I don't play D&D. You got the whole world outside of your house to go do stuff instead of sitting inside at your mom's house in your garage doing this stuff. You don't want to sit there and play D&D all day long. There's better stuff to be done out in the world. And like I said, going for a walk and getting out to see new stuff is more beneficial than you sitting at a table during the day playing D&D. All right? There's so many things that you could do in replace of going and sitting around a table with your friends. And like I said, if I had a group of friends and we were all gamers, I would be going with them to a gamer bar and probably trying to meet a girl that video games. All right? So the D&D thing is probably never going to happen. I won't be promoting it here. I just talk about it from time to time because it's something that's being brought up and something I feel like I need to get out of my system from time to time. So when people bring that up, it's, I'm giving my legit reason why. I just don't care for D&D. I literally 10 years ago, I wanted to play it, but at the same time, I've had so many experiences with it that I'm not interested in it anymore. And it's no hate towards the game. It's no hate towards the people playing the game. But, there are better things you could be doing with your time during the day. And again, I have so many options here in Florida, and I'm just always doing stuff to keep myself busy that I just don't want to play D&D. There's nothing there that's intriguing about it. Intriguing enough to draw me in and be like, okay, let's play some D&D. No. The dice look cool. That's the only thing I would want from D&D. But I don't really feel the need to go out and buy some dice. What am I gonna do? Put it back here on my shelf that's full of games already? No. And it's just I lived with a group of people who showed me the truth behind D&D and how D&D actually is. And it's not a good time, ladies and gentlemen. It's a bunch of people throwing a bitch fit when they disagree with a move being when they disagree with something in some sort of rule. That's all D&D basically is to me. Somebody throwing a bitch fit, because I remember the time I played D&D and this guy was like literally making up rules as he goes, and it's just like it causes people to like argue amongst each other. And every single time I played D&D, it always led to somebody arguing amongst another person. And it just becomes a point where I'm just like, okay, at this point I just don't want to. All right? I'd rather sit there and argue with a person I'm playing a video game with instead of a person playing D&D with me, because there's no point to that argument. And on top of it, the D&D experiences I've had, they're not horrible. They're just, I've come to the conclusion it's something that I don't enjoy. And I think I got what I needed to say out of the way, but this is legitimately my reasoning for not wanting to play D&D. It's no hate towards the people that play it, and there is no, there is, if I'm playing anything like it, I'm gonna play it ran by a computer. Just pretty plain and simple. It's, and at the end of the day, you have to remember, not everybody that's playing games wants to play D&D. I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of people I see that wouldn't be able to handle sitting around playing a D&D session because it's so bloody boring. You know, especially people that have ADHD, so bloody boring. And I think about my younger days, and I think about how me and my friends, we went out and we BMX'd and we did that kind of stuff. Climbed rocks, climbed up really tall rocks and almost hurt ourselves. Backyard wrestled, train how to spar each other, just stuff like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, there are a whole bunch of opportunities to get out there and do stuff instead of playing D&D, you know? And I think that's all I really needed to say for this. I wanted to do a live stream specifically because I wanted people to understand my basic reaction. You know, I'm not here trying to tell people don't play D&D, but I have this reaction I do to this because I just genuinely, it's not at all interesting. There's no, as a person that has ADHD, I'm not gonna want to sit around a table for a long period of time playing a tabletop game, because tell you what, Monopoly gets boring after a while. Games like that get boring, but they're fun when you start, and they're quick, and you don't really need to put a lot of time into them. So, just some food for thought, just something to think about, and just so people will like get a general idea of where I stand. Again, this was no take towards people in the D&D community or hatred towards the D&D community. That's just a group of people. I'm probably never going to get involved. I'd rather be out playing paintball or riding BMX trails or dirt riding trails, stuff like that. So, this is just something to think about. No harm, no foul. But again, the experiences are what they are, and how I've experienced them is why I don't play them. So, if you're mad at me for this, or you feel some sort of way about it, take it as it is, but I'm not trying to pander to anybody at this point. I've made this clear that I don't like D&D. It's been like that for years. And It's been like that for a couple years now because I've been around so many people playing these games and seeing the experiences, and that is why I don't go to play these tabletop games because they're just so bloody boring. So, and that's it. That's it. That's all I want to say. And I will be back later on tonight streaming a video game for you guys and talking about other stuff. All right.